Okay, so we finished up the majority of the auth module, and now we could start on the other endpoints. So it's going to be slash user for current users, and then slash profiles for viewing other users. So we're not going to create a new entity. We're just going to start adding modules for the other endpoints. Actually, let's just make one module for both endpoints, and we'll just have two different controllers. So that's gonna be what's the command? It's gonna be nest generate module user, nest generate service user, nest generate controller user, and then let me see if I still remember this. It's gonna be nest generate controller, and I want it to be user slash profile. Does that work? User profile. Alright, well, I'm just gonna move some stuff around. So move source user profile controller.ts to source user profile.controller.ts. Let's remove that folder. Source user. I need to use recursive force here. Slash profile. And then let's remove all of those tests. So user star.spec.ts. Okay, now we're ready to start coding some stuff. So there's a typo in the user module, and that's because we moved this directory, which doesn't exist anymore. Alright, so let's look at the stuff. Slash user is going to be the current user, and slash profiles is going to be the profiles controller. And profiles is plural, user is singular, so profile, we're just going to add S here. And this is fine as it is. And the service is where we're going to start adding things. So we're going to have a constructor, and inject the user entity repository. So inject repository, user entity, and it's going to be user repo. That is a type of repository, user entity. And also we need to remember to say private, so that it's injected correctly. And what do we want here? So slash user, we have the username inside of the so the find is going to go on the property of username, and yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. What the hell? Okay. So I'm going to do async method of find by username, and we want the username here. It's just going to be a string. And we'll do return this dot user repo dot find one, where the username matches. And that should return a promise of user entity. So this will turn user entity, which we can use throughout the service. We can add these endpoints now for the current user. So get and then put. Let's go to the user controller, which is this one. Make sure we save here. Here we're gonna inject the user service. So private user service, and this is going to be a get to the root to find the user, or yeah, current user, and we'll return this dot user service dot find by username of username. Now we need to get the username, and which is a string, and the username we're going to get from the request user object, and that's where the token comes into play. So inside of here, the payload, we're adding the username to the payload, and the payload is going to be offered to us on the request user. And so while we're here, actually, in Auth, I'm going to create a new file. The thing that I forgot in the last video is the user decorator.ts. And let's close all these files so it's easier to read. And this is where we're going to get the user. So I'm going to import a utility function from NestJS. It's from common, so NestJS common, and it's called create param decorator. So we're going to export const, and the decorator I'm going to call is user. That's not confusing, right? Let's actually change this to you know what? User's fine. I'll do create param decorator, and it takes in a callback function of data and request. And we just wanted to return request.user, and that should be good. NestJS 7 has a little interesting thing. So data, we have no idea what it is, so it's going to be of type unknown. And the request object, if I can get there, is going to be of type execution context. Execution context. And this is actually not the request. It's called CTX context. I believe they did this so that the GraphQL and REST APIs are easier to work together. So we need to get the request from the context, and so the context we're going to switch to HTTP and get the request. Is this correct? Oh, I have to call this. There we go. And that'll give us the request user object, and that looks good to me. So here we're going to get the username from the user object, like so. And let's actually test this out. So I'm going to do console log request user here, and yarn start dev, because I think there's also one thing that we need to do. So let's go into Postman. Whoa, that's not good. What is this? Can't resolve dependency user service. Please make sure the argument user entity repository. Oh, that's because our new module needs access to something. So we're gonna do imports here, and this is gonna be typeOrm module for feature, and we want the user entity here. Okay, things look good. So I'm gonna log in to get our token. There's our token. I'm gonna take that. And let's make a new tab here. Localhost 4000 API/user and send. Let's have an auth header. Hold on. Let's make sure this works. So I'm gonna go to user controller, find current. No, that's fine. It's gonna be token and the token. And let's see. Here we go. So undefined. So I am forgetting something. Oh, we need to add another decorator here. So use guards, and I think it's just auth guard coming from NestJS passport. So we also need to import that into user module. Passport module. We also need to define what the module thing is supposed to do. I think we just, yeah, so this. So instead of passport module, I'm going to instead get the auth module here. There we go. So to explain what's happening is that the passport module is being imported to the auth module where it gets registered, and then we'll import the registered passport module into this module by just getting the entire auth module. Hopefully that makes sense. But now when we do a request, we should be able to get the user entity from the token, which is this thing. And we're still not returning JSON, so we still got a ways to go. So the reason being is that what's returned from the user decorator is actually the entire user object. So if we go in here and we do a send, this is everything that we're getting. So where is my thing? So we actually want to get this because we're getting a user entity here. So now we should be able to get the correct user, and we do. And that's because we need to get the specific property from the user entity, which is just the username. And also, we could get rid of this unnecessary logging inside of our decorator now. So I get rid of this. And now we could start on the next endpoint in the controller, which is going to be the put. And this is also needs a use guard. Auth guard. And here we're going to do updates. Not doing anything yet because we need to actually define it in our service. So let's do async update user. And we need the username, which is a string, as well as the data to be updated. So I'm going to call it data. And yeah. Okay, so this is going to be we're gonna await, which I can't spell today for some reason. This dot user repo dot updates. The criteria is going to be username, and then the data is going to be data, and then we'll return the user. So I'm going to do, I'll just do this find by username, so we can reuse this function up here. Now this is potentially unsafe, so before we do anything, let's actually create a data transfer object with validation. So the request to update is going to be email, bio, and image. And I'm assuming all of these are optional. So yeah, let's jump into our user model and create that. So it's going to be called exports. I'm going to put it up here so I could group all my classes together. So export class update user DTO, and it's going to be email. Wait, is it email? Oh, it is email. Okay, email, which is a string, image, which is a string, and bio, which is a string. Now let's add the class validators to it. So is email. These are also going to be optional. Just so, yeah, is optional and is optional. All right. So let's go into, where did we do above? The controller. And here, so we're getting the username, which is the user entity. And we also need the body, which is the data that we were going to get. Data. And it's going to be of type update user. Update user DTO. And then we can do return this dot user service dot update user username data. And let's go to Postman and see if we can update. I'm going to update the bio. And I guess images could be also null, so let's go to post/user. Let's do a raw JSON. And I'm going to do bio updated bro. And image, I just want that to be an empty string because I don't want to see null right now. So we'll do the send. Cannot post. Oh, this is supposed to be a put request because we're doing an update. So send internal server error. This is impage. Okay. No entity column impage was found. Oh. Let's add the validation pipe. Validation pipe. And also for safety, let's make sure that we what's this called? Update user DTO. And instead of data, let's, yeah. No, actually, that should be fine. Let's try that again. So we'll do a send, which is wrong. So send, and there's our updated user, And let's add some safety to that. So what we need to do is reject all the unnecessary properties. And to do that, we're gonna add some options to the validation pipe. It's gonna be what was it? All right, so for the validation pipe, we're gonna use transform true and also whitelist to true. And now since we're adding options, we need to do a new here. And now we can test it out. So let's add a property that obviously doesn't exist. So obvious exists, and we'll send that. And it went through correctly, and it doesn't blow up, which is good. So let's update the bio again. So blows up. All right, cool. So that's gonna be the current user endpoint. Now we can work on the profile endpoint. All right, let's close all these files. So it'll be a lot easier. We'll keep the user service one, and we'll open up profile. And let's see what operations we want here. So we have get profile, which is going to be get user by username. And then we also have to implement a following feature to add these two routes. So these two authentications required, where this one's optional, so we don't really need. We can just add that right now. So I'm going to go in here, constructor, let's add in the user service. And this is going to be a get to, is this slash username? Yep. Slash, this is a string, so slash username. And we'll just do find profile. Come on. And we turn this dot user service dot find user by username, and username string, and this is from the param of username. And let's test that out. So this, we could add another thing, another tab, and there are no headers here, so we're not authenticated. But if we go to localhost 4000 API slash profiles, and what's this user? It is Jake. And we should get Jake. And let's see what happens when we get no one. Which I spelled wrong, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so we don't get anything back. So let's go in here and change this to const user equals to await. And if no user, will throw a not found exception. Otherwise, we'll turn user. Okay, I think I'm going to stop the video here because the next thing is going to be the implementing follows, and that requires us to update our user entity. And I think that might take a while, so it'll be a separate video. But yeah, that's what we're going to do next, and I'll see you guys next time.